Hey, look, Sean Rueter's here, and
Hey,
I'm
look,
here,
Matt Roth.
and I'm here. Sure. We're both here. Welcome to Cageside Live, everybody. This is the show after the show. After the show, the guy behind the one, of the one, and the 21 in one. No, it's Night of the Champions post show. Matthew Roth, Sean Rueter. You can reach him on Twitter at S1Rude. You can reach me on Twitter at MattRoth512. This is Cageside Live. Sorry we didn't do it last week. Sean had stuff to do, so we're going to try and get this going more regularly. Didn't work out. We're going to try and get it to go regularly, but we're here tonight, so let's talk wrestling.
Let's do it. Yeah, sorry about last week. I have to take a week off to get my hair cut. So
Yeah.
now I look good, so I'm back. What's up,
You do look handsome. You do look handsome.
I know I do. So, yeah, how's everybody been? What's up? Hey. How was the show for y'all? I kind of liked it.
This was a good show, and Sean,
Yes?
I'm okay. I'm okay doing these shows whenever we're able to fit them in, especially because now football season started. Look, football takes precedence.
I don't want to talk about it. For some reason, the Steelers have been scheduled to play on the last two event nights. So whatever. It's looking good over down there in Charlotte right now. I don't want to jinx it, and I want to talk about wrestling because I haven't even done one of my solo video casts in a while. Shit's been a little crazy for me, but it's all good. We're back, and so I tried a little experiment tonight, Matt. I didn't get on social media or the Cageside threads or anything. I just watched the show. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see if I'm going to just piss everybody off, or if I liked stuff that everybody else hated, or what happened. So.
Okay, so before we actually talk about the show, your experiment, how did that go? Was it actually enjoyable not talking wrestling with people?
It was all right. It was about the same. I mean, there were certain, when I was really into a match, I was glad I wasn't doing it because I could actually just stay focused on a match and not be checking my Twitter feed and shit. But there was a little lull there in the middle. There were a few matches that I completely lost my interest and I didn't know what to do. I actually had an urge to get online and check Twitter and stuff during about a stretch from about 9 to 10 o'clock there, because I was just like, shit, I just gotta sit here and watch this.
Yeah. So here's the thing about tonight. Some of the matches were great, super fun.
Yeah.
And some not so much.
Yeah.
There were legitimate highs and lows. I actually didn't talk much about it on Twitter. I stayed away from the comment thread on Cageside. But I was texting with a buddy who, because I've let him, he's watched wrestling at my apartment when I lived in Austin. He actually got back into wrestling, and so the entire night he's texting me because apparently pro wrestling is something that now he shares with his wife, where he was going to sleep early on Monday nights because he has an early job on Tuesdays and stuff, and his fiance at the time, now wife, was staying up and watching pro wrestling, and so he's like, yeah, I didn't know that she was watching wrestling, but now it's something that we watch together. And so shout out to my friend Will, and we were texting all night about the Night of Champions. It was actually a good card.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I've said this before in my writing and stuff. I'm actually glad that my wife doesn't watch wrestling because it gives me a check. If we both watched it, we'd probably just sit here and never turn it off. So she makes me turn it off, so that's good. But mad respect to all the female fans out there and the couple fans, and I think this was a good show for the most part. This was, it was pretty. Even the stuff that I didn't like, I didn't hate.
Right.
I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, there were some not great matches and some kind of low points, and we're going to talk about those, but they weren't. It didn't leave that sour taste in my mouth like it did with not. What was the one?
Battleground is the one that we both wanted to slit our wrists even while we were talking about it. Not that that's not funny. I mean, but we were both just why did we have to watch this? Why do we have to talk about it? It was horrible.
Yeah, but there were low points, but they weren't the lowest points of tonight were better than anything that happened in Battleground.
Yeah.
So anyway, I missed the pre-show. I was grabbing.
I did
dinner.
too. I didn't see it. I read read Gino's write up on it, but I didn't watch it. So.
And apparently there was no match. It was just the segment.
Yeah, but Gino hated the first half hour, and then there was the Peep Show segment, which was Jericho saying, Orton was never ever going to be the same again after their match. So, woohoo! They made a big deal out of it being an hour, and then they didn't do anything with it. So,
like this
$9.99, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been a really good time to have used Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, Tyler Breeze, and Tyson Kidd. And
would have been a good time to use Bray Wyatt, another guy that didn't get used at all tonight. So
yeah, or literally most of the roster.
Yeah,
that didn't get used. Like that's what the pre-show is for. Is like, hey, we're like Jack Swagger wasn't on the show.
Yeah,
like it would have been a good idea to have used guys that have been getting pretty consistent work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're using it for basically like Miz TV or Piper's Pit, it's kind of a worthless. Hey, buy the network.
Yeah, I mean they've been hyping the NXT guys and they haven't done anything with them on the main shows. Not that I even have a problem with that, but they acted like they were going to, and then they haven't paid it off. The Dallas Swagger feud is still going on. Neither one of those guys got on here. Nothing with Bray or Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Slater Gator's been getting over a little bit. They could have used them on the pre-show, just a comedy match with the Matadors and Torito. They didn't do that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a Christian, Mark, so I'm glad he got a paycheck, but I didn't even remember to watch it. So
yeah, I mean, it's good that Christian's still in the company.
Yeah.
So I missed that. You missed it. So there's nothing to talk about. But let's talk about Stardust versus the Usos.
Good match. I'm surprised they pulled the trigger on the title change. I thought it was never going to happen. I thought the Usos were going to have like a San Martino-esque reign with the tag titles, but
it really did need to happen though. And the Dust Brothers are getting over. They're the new hotness, so to speak.
And they were the old hotness before Cody put on face paint. I mean, they were good. They were over as a face tag team. I guess they're going to be. I was kind of thinking watching this that it might be cool if they sort of double turned these teams and had them feud with the Usos as heels, but have them get pissed off they lost and actually start to act heelish the way that the Dusts have been accusing them of. Because my big question mark here is if the Dusts are heels, I don't know who they feud with other than the Usos because there's not any face teams established.
Yeah, there aren't any face teams. I mean, I guess like.
I mean, the Matadors. There's jobber face teams, but there's not legit. Maybe they put Show and Henry back together now since they were giving each other pep talks tonight. I don't know.
And I guess you could do something like.
We got Ziggler and Dolph and R. Ziggler. You could put them together. I guess, but they're still going to be. They're still busy, I think.
Yeah, It before when they teased it that Cody teased it with talking about the Ascension, you could have had a face Rhodes Brothers or Dust Brothers, however they want to book them, versus the Ascension, especially with how we're talking about like the Galactic Key or the Star Key or whatever they're calling it. But now that they're healed, the Ascension doesn't make sense. And this is a case of you don't have any, like, there's no balance to the Force, so to speak. It's just all dark side.
Yeah. I mean, the Ascension, they get some face cheers on NXT. You can never tell what's going to translate from the NXT crowd to the real crowd. And, there's people that, the Dusts are still getting a pop, kind of, even they've been a little, they haven't done anything, I mean, they beat up Torito. That was kind of heelish, but you could, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I mean, they don't want to do it because they still want to see him as like the master heel. Apparently, I don't know. I don't get it. But Bray Wyatt is still getting face fan reactions. He's not getting.
Yeah.
You could kind of put him in that weird Sting role when Sting was coming down from the rafters and have Harper and Rowan, be a face team. Not a face team as in like, facing, babyface in peril, but face as in like, hey, you guys have been cheating. We got to beat you up.
Right. Yeah. We don't cheat. We just kick ass.
Right. Like basically Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't a babyface. from the the old school wrestling definition, but he was a baby. He was a babyface.
Right.
You
Which
couldn't do
that's
that with the Wyatt family, and maybe that's what you do until the Ascension comes up. The Ascension needs to come up anyway. I mean, that's totally.
yeah, and that's kind of how they've been booked too. They attacked Hideo Itami lately, but before that they were just kicking everybody's ass. They weren't cheating to win. They were getting cheers for it. So
Oh, no,
you could do the same thing. They could just come up and start destroying like Slater Gator for a while, and then have them face the dusts. I think, unfortunately, everybody's saying, thank God the belts are off the Usos. They're so stale. I don't think they're going anywhere right away. I bet we get another month of this feud with them. Okay, they'll probably have a rematch of the exact same match tomorrow night on Raw because that's what they like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get a few more singles matches. I don't know if it'll make it to the next pay-per-view because that's 5 weeks away, but they're probably still going to be the chief. Their rematch will be the chief tag team story for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the Usos are stale, but at least there's a possibility of movement with them. Like you can put the belt on somebody else. You have feuds that you can use, that you could do with them. So
Right.
If you're not going to have them work with the Dust Brothers, you can have them work with Rybaxel, or you can. I feel so stupid saying Rybaxel. It's such a dumb thing, but that's pro wrestling for you. But
Yep. I can't wait for Ryback to come back. I feel stupid saying that, but he's a good character, so we need him back.
That's a real man's name, is Ryback.
And he is a real man, damn it.
He is a real person, but there's at least possibilities of moving, from the Usos, and the Usos, yeah, they're stale, but they still get pops with the Flying Usos and whatever, and they go to the 6-man tag. But there's a possibility because they were the only face tag team that you could have it go somewhere else and have them feud with multiple heel teams.
Right.
With only one face tag team in the entire company on the entire active roster, are they going to feud with the Dust Brothers for the next 3 months?
I don't know. I mean, when's the last time we had a heel? I guess the New Age Outlaws, when they were champs for like 6 weeks, they were the only heel tag team that we've had in like the last 2 years that I can think of. It was Team Hell No forever. It was the Usos forever. It was the Rhodes Brothers before Cody put on the face paint.
Yeah,
I mean, who else? I mean, it's been the heel tag teams don't last too long because the roster's full of heel tag teams and there's nobody for them to feud with. So
and they have this is a really good tag division in the sense that there's actually there are tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that it's not like when the tag division was getting huge pops and everything. Sorry, the Shield. When the Shield was.
Oh, right. Sorry, duh.
But
brain freeze.
But there aren't any that. It's not like when the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and the Hardys were tagging and we're getting great tag matches, and you have that triangle where you can move it from one to the next, and it's
right.
fresh because every single match has a new stipulation and it works. This just there's nothing like okay, so it moves from the Usos to the the Dust Brother again. I feel really stupid saying that, but where does it go from Cody and Dustin? I don't know.
Hopefully the Ascension, because I'm not crazy about how they wrote them. Well, they're not off of NXT TV yet, but I'm not crazy about how they lost the titles in their night. But they're still, they can still be made to look dominant again really quickly, and the roster could use that, and maybe as a face team. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it could work as a face team. They're that weird, Edge and Christian.
Yep, and people want the Lucha Dragons up already. I don't know if they're going to come up so soon since they just gave them the belts on NXT, but
the Lucha Dragons would work. And Sin Cara, with Junichiro Cara, he's working really well, and with Kalisto.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good team. It would work on the main roster, and clearly they need somebody to fill in the Rey Mysterio role.
Yeah.
They haven't fit in like who they drop it to in NXT. NXT again is full of heel tag teams.
Yep.
except for the what's called the Italian guys.
The realest guys in the room or whatever their name are, and then they're more of a at this point they're more of an entertainment act than they are a wrestling act. So
Yeah. So
anyway, yes. What was next?
How would you rank this
this match?
Yeah, were you impressed with this match or not really?
I did, yeah. I mean, no, I liked it. It was fun. I mean, that's the weird thing about the Usos for me is that I usually like their matches. They just, I don't know, they're kind of like the Cena tag team. They don't. I can sit there and they can work a really good match. They work well with a bunch of different kinds of guys. I'm just not invested in their story. So, but I thought this was good. I mean, I liked the outcome. I mean, I would say, I don't know if I don't usually do like a star rankings thing, but like 3.5, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it.
This was a good match.
It was a good opener.
To me, they're like Randy Orton. Randy Orton, I find him really boring in the ring, but he's able to work with everybody on the roster.
Yeah,
and he puts on a good match with pretty much everybody on the roster. I was happy with it. It was a good way to kick off the show.
Yep.
So.
Agreed.
Yep. Where do we go from there?
United States Championship, I believe.
Oh, this was a good.
I love this match. Yeah, I kind of knew going in I was gonna love it. Probably my match of the night. I think.
Mm-hmm.
They did exactly what I wanted them to do. I would have liked to have seen Cesaro win or maybe look a little bit. The ending sort of came out of the blue for me. I get what they were going with for storyline wise.
Right.
But I mean, goddamn, these guys just beat the shit out of each other, and that's what I thought was going to happen, and was looking forward to happening. And I would like the one thing I was thinking through this, and then through the main event is I think we've talked about it before. I would love to see Sheamus Brock Lesnar at some point. I definitely want to see Cesaro Brock Lesnar too, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll get either one of them, but damn.
I mean, we've talked about it on the show before, and. Sheamus is one of the most underappreciated guys on the roster right now. He's been on fire this year.
Yeah, I wish he had a character, but you know.
Well, he has no character, and they haven't taken the time to build a feud with him. You know.
No, I mean, this one was pretty much based on the fact that they threw the belt at each other, right? I mean, that's like what happened on Raw and SmackDown.
They had a tug of war. But like, if they can get rid of the fella and shit like that, and just give Sheamus some sort of a character. Like, he's an ass kicker. That's his character. He's an ass kicker.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do that. They want to make him like with a catchphrase, and his catchphrase is fella, and it's a stupid catchphrase. It's a really dumb catchphrase. And it sucks because that's what I take away from Sheamus, not the fact that, again, he can have a great match with everybody, literally everyone, and he has a great match with them. And instead of doing that, it's fella.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hear you describe that, and I shouldn't have a problem with I'm an ass kicker as a character, but maybe it's like the baggage from Sheamus from when he was like having the World Heavyweight Championship run, and he was just like the epitome of the WWE dick face. I don't know. I mean, for some reason. I don't even mind fella that much. It's he yells it. It's goofy, but there's worse things. It's not yodeling or anything.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just disappointing that like he's a really good worker, and he doesn't just have to do the Haas fight. He has a bunch of really good spots, but he also is a really he can sell really well.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the spots, but. Those spots, he has 7 spots. He has 7 moves of doom, just moves of doom, but he can do other shit too.
Mm-hmm.
And the match tonight, I want to see that with more time given to them.
I was surprised they got as much as they did. I mean, they delivered. I mean, Cesaro was busting out. This almost felt to me sort of like a Ring of Honor kind of match. A lot of the matches tonight did. They went to the false finish well. I thought they really built well, and it worked. I mean, the way they had the theme of this card seemed to be mostly straight up competition with a couple of screw jobs, which we'll get to later. But yeah, it was a fun match. I was okay with it. I liked the way Sheamus sold the ending. I mean, he really looked. I mean, he looked like he had the shit kicked out of him, but he was crazy enough to come back with the one last move. And we've talked about this a million times. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Cesaro, but if you let him work matches like this, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know that the U.S. title would have done anything for him, and they did enough just like trading the title for no real storyline reason stuff on other places on the card tonight. So didn't need to have it here either. Um,
it works, and you were able to do. I agree with you. I'd like to see him versus Brock Lesnar down the line, and I don't care if it's for the belt or whatever it is. Just like work a stiff match, like
mhm.
beat the fuck out of each other because both of them can take it. Like it's not like Sheamus is one of those guys where he's hindered by the WWE style because if you sent him to Japan to work a strong style, holy hell.
Yeah,
You know, that's what I want. I want to see him work a stiff style in Japan in New Japan. That would be what Sheamus should, like. That's what Sheamus is built for and made for.
it's interesting too because he's not. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody in the thread maybe knows better than I do. I mean, he's been with the WWE for a while, but he's not young, so I don't know. I mean, I assume he probably wrestled in the UK and Ireland, but I don't know that he ever did like the international thing. But he fits that mold of a guy. I mean, you wouldn't know if you told him his resume. You told me his resume was the same as like Sheamus or Sami Zayn's or something. I would believe it. I mean, I guess just because he's bigger, he got some shortcuts to the WWE, but. Yeah, I would love to see him do that. I would love to see him spend a little bit more time down in NXT. It's a shame his one long match that he had down there was against Aiden English, who's a guy that I like as a character, but not too much as a wrestler. But I'd like to see him go down there and work with Sammy or work with Adrian Neville or Atami now, or there's the built ready-made feud with Devitt when he comes in as the Irish guys. So
Or like, yeah, we could talk about the NXT stuff, but we're not going to do it tonight. But he's one of those guys that there's so many options for Sheamus, and he's really being limited because you already proved that you can't draw money, so we have to put you at the mid card titles.
well, I mean, I will say for me, and I don't know. I mean, this match was sort of like if you were going to go into the lab and build a match for Sean, it might be this one. But this made, to me, it made the United States title feel more important. Because
Yes.
I could see either one of these dudes legitimately challenging, like we said, I mean, I'd like to see both of these guys face Brock with, not to jump ahead, but I think it's the next match, is the Intercontinental title match. I don't see either of those guys as a legit threat to Lesnar. So to me, right now, with the guys they have feuding for it, the U.S. title seems like the second belt, and the IC feels like the third.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these guys stole the show. As far as the mid tier titles, they didn't steal the show, but as far as the mid tier titles go, like the U.S. title is now above the Intercontinental title to me.
Yeah, I mean the Intercontinental title feud is really entertaining, but it doesn't fit in the same way that this one does. And I will say, I don't know if I'd say that these guys stole the show. I think this was my favorite match on the card, just if I look at each of them individually. But the first two matches did set up the next set of matches to have a real problem. It was like the first two matches I was like, fuck yeah, those were great. And then it was like, oh, this is okay. And then the next one was like, well, this one's not even any good. And it took a while for the card to come back after these two matches kicked it off so well.
Yeah, that's really what it was. And again, we don't do a ratings on this show. This was one of the top matches for the event though.
Yeah.
And I would like to know what they do with Sheamus now. You need to put him with somebody that works a physical style. Somebody like Bad News Barrett works really well with Sheamus because they're both really stiff. Like Jack Swagger could work with Sheamus. And I know everybody in the comment section, I know that we're supposed to hate Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger works really stiff. And I'd like that because, it works against somebody like Sheamus. It doesn't work with somebody like Mystico who complains about breaking his finger in the middle of a match and makes him stop a match. But against somebody like Sheamus who will give it back to you, it works.
And it's completely not related, but I think I read somewhere that like fucking Del Rio is now like tagging with Mystico again in AAA, which is just that poor guy can't get away from that asshole. Oh, they hate each other and they just follow each other around.
Is that wait? Do they really have heat?
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, there's a story that at some point while they were like traveling in Mexico, I think Mystico like pulled a gun on Del Rio after a shoot fight. I mean, they like apparently really hate each other.
Perfect. So tag them together, like put them in the tag team.
Yeah, so now they're both baby faces in AAA. Oh, poor Del Rio.
Like Tony Atlas and what's it called, Rocky Johnson,
Yep,
close outside of the ring.
yep.
But I guess they work together inside. Like Sheamus, he needs to work with somebody physical. He doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with somebody who can't take a beating.
I mean, I could see. I mean, Swagger. I guess is Swagger still a face, or was that only for the Rusev feud?
Look, he's always been a face to me.
Well, that's because you love America. I could. I mean, I could see him. I mean, I could. I don't know how you do the storyline wise because they're so pumped on this USA versus Russia thing, but I would watch the shit out of some Sheamus versus Rusev.
Oh yes, yes.
I'd watch Cesaro versus Rusev. Again, all those two guys are like interchangeable for me in all of my like dream matches. So
Yeah, like why can't you put Sheamus or Cesaro versus Big E? Those matches work.
oh shit, I forgot all about Big E.
Oh, because Big E doesn't exist.
Because he's disappeared except from everywhere except for Twitter.
Yeah. He's really funny on Instagram and Twitter though.
Yep, man, he sure is.
But yeah, like so, I don't know. The U.S. title to me that worked out to being the new big title. I'd like to see it mean something down the line with like more great feuds.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it seems like the way it's going right now, this is the wrestling title would be
Yes.
the U.S. title. So
which is funny because historically that was the
right.
IC belt, but who cares about historics, right?
Well, they tried. That was another thing that I thought was cool. I don't know. I like the way they produced this pay-per-view. Actually, I like the little vignettes. The graphics going into them with the history of the belts, and maybe this was sort of aimed at belt marks and smarks a little bit because they did try to make it feel like some of this stuff was important instead of just it being like, oh, we have Jerry Springer and also wrestling.
Right. It's like, oh, hey, we actually have wrestling and Jerry Springer occasionally shows up too.
Right. It's sports and then entertainment as opposed to the way it usually is. But
Vince apparently, I guess Vince just he called out sick.
Well, hey, that's all right. Well, he doesn't like to get sick though. He doesn't believe in sickness.
No, he doesn't believe in sick.
And he does it if you sneeze in front of him, he'll get pissed.
Does he actually get this?
That's the story, yeah. And like if he sneezes in front of you, he apologizes for showing weakness. He doesn't just play crazy on TV. He actually is crazy. That's our man, Vince McMahon.
He's actually a psychopath.
Yeah, it's, at least a sociopath. Yeah.
He's a sociopath. Anyway, this was a good match, and then the next couple of matches it kind of fell off to me.
Yeah, I agree. We got so the Intercontinental was next, and this one I will tell you, this is probably as close as I'm going to get to a rant on this show because, like I said, I was mostly entertained. But keep your little country music stick figures off my fucking show, and don't. I don't know, man. I've been digging this feud. I like the stunt doubles thing. It's funny. I think these guys have put on some decent wrestling matches with each other. Tonight, I guess it was another one. It sort of felt a lot like their free show matches and the tag matches they've been doing, so it didn't blow me away. But I also couldn't focus on it because we had to bring down Florida, Georgia, Kentucky line to talk about tribute to the troops and have Jerry Lawler talk about his girlfriend, and then these two guys that make me look like I work out knocked out Sandow, and so that happened.
Yeah, this is the one time I actually went to Twitter and actually got pissed about it. You said it best, man. Like these guys are fucking skinny, like that. Rail thin. And who the hell is Georgia Florida County Lion? I've never heard of them. And Jerry Lawler's talking about how they're the hottest thing in music right now. Sorry, bro.
They are sort of. I think if you listen to pop country, I think they are a big deal. But that's not. Right. I don't care. It has nothing. I don't care if it was my favorite band. You could have brought fucking Pearl Jam out there, and I still would have been pissed if they didn't talk about the match, and then somebody who looked like he weighs 85 pounds, soaking wet, knocked over a wrestler.
Yeah,
and that wasn't even involved in the payoff of the match. It's not like they helped Ziggler and win.
Right, right.
The babyface still lost after their bullshit.
Yeah, it's different when like Hugh Jackman, whose characters in movies is playing Wolverine. You know, like it's still dumb. It's still really dumb to have him beat up, knock out people with a single punch. But at least it's like, no, Hugh Jackman. Like, if you've seen him in movies, like the dude is fucking gigantic.
Yeah,
like, he clearly works out, and like he's Wolverine. That's how they always introduce him.
At least it's like a separate segment, and it's fun. And because these guys didn't seem like they. I mean, they were. I mean, I guess this is their second appearance on a WWE show or whatever. Apparently, it's honor the troops now. We're getting chastised I'm getting chastised in the thread. I didn't catch the official name change. Anyway.
Yeah, it's no longer tribute for the troop. It's now honor for the
all right.
troops.
Well, I honor. I'll honor. I hope they adhere to the code of honor beforehand. It didn't need to be in the middle of it. Have a separate backstage segment where Sandow mouths off to him, and they did with what's his name, fucking Flow Rider or whatever. Don't have it be in the middle of this. This is another thing that made the IC belt feel like the comedy entertainment part of sports entertainment belt.
Right, like if it's a comedy belt, then you know what? Say like, I like what The Miz is doing right now, and I like what Damien Sandow's doing, and I'm enjoying this feud. So like, as far as a feud and the segments and everything, but like, if you're gonna make it a comedy belt, then just like go. I hate the term, and I apologize in advance, but like, go full retard and put it on Adam Rose.
Yeah, never go full retard, but yeah.
But like, obviously, this is a bad term to use, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, it's a movie reference. We're okay. I think we're okay with that one. We're not.
Put on Adam Rose if it doesn't matter to you. You know, like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I don't understand. This is the first of a couple of title changes. So, like at SummerSlam, I guess we had the belt change hands just as a stalling tactic. I mean, I don't know any other reason why Ziggler won just to drop it at the next pay-per-view. Because even at the time you did the show that night with somebody else, but I mean, I wrote about it. I think we talked about it the next night. The heat for me was in the chase on this one, so I don't know what the good of having Ziggler win the belt for a month was. I mean, I guess the feud's going to go on, and
unless they're going to trade it back and forth, and like, kind of what they've been doing with AJ and Emma. Not AJ and Emma.
AJ and Paige, yeah.
Paige, like,
that's the other one where it's like, why did we change the title? I mean, yeah, I guess that's when you don't have anything else to do, just do this.
Unless they're going ahead and they're going to be, making this a full-on, like, hey, I take one, you take one, and then, like, I win because my stunt double, so to speak, took the pin or whatever. Like, whatever it is, okay. But it doesn't make sense if it's just, if it's just so you can put another, check mark next to the Miz's name when it comes to how many times is the Intercontinental champ.
Which is what Michael Cole made it sound like when he was like, hey, he's now a 4-time IC champ. Maybe I think maybe they're just going to trade it back and forth until it's time for Miz to go film his next Christmas movie or whatever for Lifetime Channel.
Yeah, I mean he's a movie star.
Yeah, money, the moneymaker. He has to protect it.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I do crack up. I love their entrance because Sandow does the mimicking his moves so perfectly.
Sandow, like, I'm happy Sandow actually like has a.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. God bless the guy. He's got a job and he's not going anywhere. He's got job security right now.
Yeah, and like, does he probably want to do serious wrestling and have like actually like be Damien Sandow, not Damien Mizdow? He probably does. He probably wants to have his own character, but like, you know what, dude? You're not sitting in catering. You're not the guy who's on the JBL and Cole show with Renee Young, every single week. You're actually on television.
You are an entertaining motherfucker, and you are entertaining people, and I'm sure that these guys do. I mean, the couple wrestlers that I know or I've talked to, I mean, yeah, there is a competition element, and you want to be. You want to win in main event, but you got into it because you liked entertaining people, and he's one of the best on the roster at doing that right now. It's probably not the way he drew it up when he was a kid planning it out, but
right, and he seems like the kind of guy who like this is what what he's always wanted to be, like he's always wanted to be a pro wrestler. It's not, oh man, I failed at being an NFLer, and so I became a pro wrestler. Like, this seems to be something that Damian Sandow is actually passionate about, and the reason why I say that without ever speaking to him is that if you get pulled off of, if you wouldn't do this and what he's been subjected to with the, being Magneto and then, an astronaut and all this bullshit, unless you were passionate about being a wrestler.
Oh, absolutely. And I know we've talked about this before too. I think they sort of, it's not hazing, because that's got some negative connotations, but it kind of is. It's like here, we're going to give you a bunch of shit, and if you take it without complaining, that's a sign that that you're worth investing in down the line. I think that might be kind of what they're doing with Cesaro, and have been. They've been doing it for a while, but they've been doing it with Sandow for like 3 years now.
They did it with pretty much everybody.
Triple H went through it, so
yeah, but you need to prove that hey, look, and again, we have no idea what was happening backstage.
No, this is all just our conjecture.
Yeah, but we also have no idea what was going on backstage when when he won the Money in the Bank and then he lost to Cena. For all we know, what was going on backstage is that he got like a huge ego about it, and that was their way of checking him. And this past year has been their way of checking him and being like, hey, look, we can this shit can go away anytime we want. So, the match was disappointing. I'm disappointed that we're not getting an extended Ziggler run. It seemed to be like an FU to the fans that have been pushing for Ziggler and begging for him to actually do something. And as you said earlier, I don't think Ziggler, neither of these guys, Ziggler or The Miz, are convincing opponents for Brock Lesnar.
No.
They're not convincing in the main event scene. Ziggler, he sells really well, but he doesn't play babyface in peril really well.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Ziggler fan in the world. I like the guy, but yeah, and I think that's part of it. He doesn't. Even somebody like Daniel Bryan, it's not a fair comparison, but he's a lot. Maybe he's not a lot smaller, but he is smaller. He looks smaller than Ziggler. Ziggler comes across more as I look like a wrestler, but everything that somebody like Bryan does is a lot more believable to me.
Yeah, it's Ziggler's physique. Ziggler's physique, he's cut like a wrestler. He's just leaner.
Yeah,
he's smaller. Daniel Bryan looks like obviously he's athletic, but he doesn't look like a wrestler.
No, he looks like a guy working at the farmer's market.
Right.
But then you see him move around, and you're like, oh, this guy could fucking kill you.
Right.
Yeah, which I'd never get from Ziggler. I get Ziggler's like the pretty boy at the gym who you think you could take down with one punch. Yeah. Sorry, Ziggler fanatics. Sorry.
And with all of his concussions, it's possible.
True. So we'll see. Maybe this does go on, and then they put, Ziggler wins before Miz goes off to make a movie, and they start to. I don't know. It just sort of felt like they were finally treating Ziggler like he might be a big deal, and then they do this, where he lost. Not only did he lose, but then he sort of felt like an afterthought.
Right. And the way he lost, it's one thing if Florida Georgia line, I don't know, Florida Georgia line interferes on the Miz's behalf,
right?
And you get that schmaz finish of Dolph Ziggler gets screwed because what was going on outside of the ring. This wasn't that.
No, but you had a handful of tights, and if anybody had their camera phones out on the stage side,
you got full butthole.
You got full Ziggler. You got the show off. So, I'm sure those pictures are out there, ladies and gentlemen who like that sort of thing. So, Dolph taint on the webs. No cloud hack needed. So this match was not as like I said, I can't really. I don't feel like I could give it a really fair grade because the stuff around it pissed me off so much. But it was definitely my least favorite match on the card up to that point, and it wasn't my least favorite match on the card, but it was in the bottom 3.
This was definitely a low point for me.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, to pretty much ad nauseum, but this wasn't a high point. This was one of those matches where there's too much going on outside. Clearly, we're both in agreement that the special guests should be away from pay-per-view and on title changes.
Mm-hmm,
They work
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, if they have to be anywhere.
Right.
All right, so Seth Rollins came out, who was supposed to have a match with Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns had some part of his, intestines shooting through his stomach muscles, so he had to have surgery, and now they're saying will be out for months, which is going to be really interesting, because we had all sort of assumed that he was being pushed right up all of our asses right through to the WrestleMania 31 main event. So Rollins came out to do what has kind of become his shtick a little bit, to gloat over a victory over one of his former teammates when they couldn't be there for reasons outside of their control, and he made Charles Robinson do the count and demanded he have his hand raised, got some good heel heat for it, and then he threw down the open challenge gauntlet, which I thought for a second when they teased it out long enough that I thought maybe it's going to be Sami Zayn, because the Ambrose thing is too obvious, but then the taxi cab rolled up and it was the lunatic fringe, and he ran in and Gino freaked out and put it on the front page in the breaking news banner, and they brawled. And
How did Dean Ambrose know?
About the open challenge?
Yeah, how did Dean Ambrose know to actually...
He has the app. He was watching the network for $9.99 a month on his phone, and he was just cruising all around Nashville in a cab.
Just doing circles in the parking lot?
Just in case Seth Rollins issued an open challenge, yeah. He wasn't going to do it otherwise.
How did that cab get back through security?
Because I think Pat Patterson was driving it. That's my theory.
It actually probably was Pat Patterson.
It looked like him to me. We only got it for a second, but I think that was Pat Patterson. So that's why. So people saw the first Intercontinental champ, and they just waved him through. And JBL had a good line here actually when he freaked out because he didn't think Ambrose paid the cabbie. I thought that was funny. It's one of the only times JBL was funny tonight. So. Yeah, he looked good. He looked a little bit more like a movie star. His hair's done up, and so there you go. Dean Ambrose is back, ladies and gentlemen, and it looked like we were headed straight towards like a Hell in a Cell match, and then the main event happened. So I don't want to jump around, but everything looked glorious here. There was an elbow drop onto everybody,
which was the most epic move ever.
It was pretty baller. I don't know what it accomplished, but god damn it, it was glorious.
Yeah, wait, we gotta talk about this. What was he actually doing? Who was he attacking?
Everybody. He didn't care. He's crazy, man. He was just gonna take out everybody.
He's attacking everybody.
He hates that. He hates Jamie Noble a lot, apparently.
He really hates Jamie Noble. Literally, Seth Rollins is like 20 feet away. He just says, fuck it, I'm just going after everybody.
It was something. That damn Joey Mercury put the cuffs on him, and...
Yeah, he got handcuffed.
He got zip-tied. So this was the only time we saw Triple H... This is the only time we saw Trips and Steph tonight, right? Was when they came out to make sure Dean got zip-tied and then raised Rollins' hand.
Yeah, Triple H just carries around zip ties.
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready for anything. They don't call him the cerebral assassin for nothing.
He just has him in his pocket just because,
he's ready.
It kind of like how I was hoping for a while that John Cena was going to be adding the throwing the steel the steel steps like a missile at his face to one of these moves of doom. I hope that that's part of Triple H's finisher, is just having zip ties in his tights, and he just zip ties you.
As long as he's a heel, he should. Yeah, I mean, it's just the sledgehammer and zip ties. He's got both. He's ready for anything.
Just anything. Like that man is ready for anything.
So this was, I mean, it was exactly what we all expected, especially once. I mean, even before the Reigns news came out, we all thought this was what was probably happening, and it still paid off. I think one thing that's made me think, watching the crowd reaction and watching the internet reaction, and I mean, I didn't stay on social media, but I had to do the post for this. I saw that Gino put the breaking news banner up. for them to really say that they don't think that he's a main eventer is mind-boggling to me. I hope that they're trying to work us because
Who, Ambrose, you mean?
yeah. I mean, people go apeshit for this guy. His music hit, and even though we all knew it was coming, I mean, we had seen him walking, and they still popped for his music. I think this guy's a big deal. I mean, he may not be Cena's replacement, but he's the closest thing they've got to like a Piper, and maybe an Austin if he hadn't gone mega. Like, I don't know. He's a big. He needs to be a big fucking deal.
He could be CM Punk.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he could be your CM Punk, and in the sense that like he works in both heel and face, and like CM Punk, he's better on the microphone than in the ring. CM Punk, like talking about being the best in the world, really fucking sloppy. Like he
could be. I mean, especially towards the end of his WWE run. I wouldn't argue too much, but he could be. He could also be. He could tighten it up when he had to, but he also. But that's. I mean, Ambrose's big strength in the ring is also what Punk's was, is that he knows how to fucking tell a story.
Right.
So if the maneuvers aren't the crispest in the world, it doesn't matter because you get caught up in the story he's telling. I think one thing that Ambrose might have on Punk a little bit is he's a little bit sexier. He's a little bit cleaner cut. He was willing to go off and do this movie, which you weren't going to do with Punk. So who knows? I mean, but I think if they gotta see they got a big deal here. But I don't know how they book him next either. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a weird situation because clearly the Roman Reigns injury, surgery, whatever you want to call it, kind of puts them behind an 8-ball, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, that was there with Bryan and Reigns on the shelf. So now they've lost the guy who was supposed to be 1A behind Cena as a babyface, and now they lost the guy that was supposed to replace Bryan when he went down.
Right. And
so,
like, granted, they're probably both going to be returning around the same time.
Yeah.
Which is going to be nice, but for like the next, what do they say, 6 to 8 weeks for Reigns?
That's what I heard yesterday, and then the thing tonight said Cole just said months.
Yeah, so let's say 2 months. For the next 2 months, you have Cena.
Yeah.
And,
Ziggler and Sheamus as your backups, which neither guy really has much of a character right now. Yeah. And Ziggler just kind of got jumped out tonight.
Yeah, like
not necessarily in the match, but in the way they treated him after the match.
But then again, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Stone Cold documentary.
I have.
That the WWE did, but. When he went down with his neck injury, that was kind of like there's always sharks in the water.
Yep.
There's always people looking for your spot, and this is the time for people to be like, if you're on the main roster and you want to make a case for I need more money or like I deserve more time on television, this is it for you.
Yep.
You have 2 months to prove it.
Indeed.
So this was a nothing match. There was no match.
No, I mean it was a fun brawl. It was a nice moment. The elbow drop thing was awesome, but we've seen these guys brawl before.
Right.
So.
I'm disappointed with how they're going with Seth Rollins too. I think that's probably my biggest disappointment out of this is that Seth Rollins, for being Mr. Money in the Bank and like. They've been booking him really weak.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to jump to the end, but they've been booking him like on the fly. It feels like it's like he looks weak and sort of directionless at the same time. So I mean, they're still putting him over. I mean, he's still dangerous and he's still impressive in the ring with the chances he get. I mean, he got a really good match out of Reigns, which I think maybe kayfabe land he lost, but. He's still one of the people who got the best match out of him, so that's got to count. He's got to be building up more respect backstage.
Yeah, he's a good hand though. He's a good hand.
Yeah.
And,
I thought I was really impressed with his promo here, but I mean, on to tonight. I thought this was one of his better heel promos. I thought he had it was kind of fun. It wasn't just straightforward, just like I'm evil. It was he actually seemed to be getting into the rhythm of making fun of people a little bit, of fucking with the fans and trolling us. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what Triple H says. So we'll see. But yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah. I expect more, and I guess like clearly like it's really young in his career, in his WWE
Yeah.
career, so like he has plenty of time. But just how they're booking him as Mr. Money in the Bank, like this is as weak this is weaker than they ever booked Daniel Bryan to me.
They booked Daniel Bryan pretty weak at times, but yeah, it's. I mean, he's gonna get his opportunities, so we'll see.
Yeah, he'll get there eventually.
I think so. I think so. I mean, I don't think he's leaving the main event peripheral anytime soon. He's not going to be feuding for the U.S. title, I don't think.
Right.
So that's good. That's good for him. All right. So this wasn't a match, like you said. So then we got to what was my worst match of the night. I thought they did a decent job with the story on it. They went full. I mean, they gave Mark Henry like he got the pep talk from Big Show, and he got the special. He got to wear Apollo Creed's red, white, and blue tights, and then they did the national anthem with Lillian Garcia, and he had the full No Sean Moreno from the Super Bowl, where he was just bawling, just
Was
tears
he
flying.
was
I don't
he,
know if it was real or not. I mean, he was soaking wet. Everybody comes. They get doused at Gorilla now, so he was. But they made it look like he was just
like he was actually
crying.
right? And here's the thing, like when you've represented the country in some sort of capacity, it's that national anthem probably means more than like just when you go to a baseball game as a fan.
True. And
Yeah.
and and Henry is a hell of an actor. I mean the promo with the salmon jacket where he faked his retirement. I don't know where he learned those skills, but damn, I mean the dude can represent his character on screen. So it's probably a little bit of both of those things. Um, what he is not, in my opinion, is a very good wrestler, and that's Rusev couldn't save this one.
What
It was
wasn't
ugly.
great
It was ugly.
with the right dance partner, Mark Henry can get a good match. You can get a good match out of Mark Henry. But what is he? He's like 42, 43. Like he's one of the older people on the roster. He's still athletic, but not athletic in the sense like not how he was when he was in his 20s and 30s. So you can't actually like do a lot of maneuvers with him.
Yeah.
And the thing is like Rusev sells. Rusev sells. And Mark Henry kind of falls in that same thing that John Cena has, where like it's not believable when he sells when he sells maneuvers. Like
Yeah.
he'll be like, you hit me in the face, but he doesn't act like he got punched in the face. He just does like this and covers up.
I just thought, I mean, the whole story of the match was that, I mean, Mark Henry was like bullying him out of the ring at first, and Rusev was selling that pretty well. He was acting well. He was looking frustrated. Lana was even looking scared. And then they were like, the only thing Henry can't afford to do is get his back injured. So what does he do? He goes right out to the floor where he can get driven back first into the post, and then he can weakly sell that. And I don't know. Henry, maybe he can have a decent. He tells a great story, but he's not a good worker. I don't know. I mean, the match with Cena was okay. He needs a much more specific type of partner than even a lot of the guys that we say he does okay with the right partner. Because this match was horrible. I still remember the match from WrestleMania 30 that he had with Ryback, which was like one of the worst WrestleMania matches I can remember. I like a lot about Mark Henry, but I cannot count on one hand the number of like good Mark Henry matches I've seen, or
Right.
or any that I would go back and watch again.
But like, he's one of those guys where like he's a good promo. He's one of the better promos on.
Yeah, he's awesome, and there was a time where I wouldn't have even thought I'd say that, but he's really come into his own there.
And
But
and like one of the big things that we can complain about is that they took Dean Ambrose off TV when he's at his hottest right now. To make a movie that is a direct to DVD movie. Why not do that with Mark Henry? Like, because Mark Henry can clearly speak. I don't know if he can act, but he can speak. And when I say I don't know if he can act, I mean like the Hollywood,
right.
of the word. Like, because again, that salmon suit promo, he can clearly act and sell me on the fact that he's retiring and he doesn't. But he's one of those people where he's very limited now, and it's the same thing with Big Show. Big Show, when he was younger and in better shape, Big Show is not a bad wrestler. But
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, Big Show was better at his peak than Henry ever was for me.
right. But Henry, when he was doing the Hall of Pain stuff, it was believable because he was doing the Goldberg where he was coming beating your ass in a minute and 30 seconds, world's strongest slam, and then saying that's what I do.
Yep.
And
that's a great character,
which is believable for him.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Mark Henry get. And it's the same thing as Big Show when they had the Brock Lesnar just beating on Big Show for 15 minutes with a chair. I don't want to see that because I don't believe the Big Show or Mark Henry when, they're. Again, I've said this word, this term 15 times tonight. I don't believe them as face in peril.
Yeah.
Mark Henry should be able to beat the hell out of Rusev just looking at him. He should be beating up. Put him in a program with Heath Slater and just let him beat up Heath Slater or Justin Gabriel. Those kind of little people in a minute. Let him be, Baron Corbin from NXT. 30 seconds, hit your finisher, that's it.
Storm out of the ring.
Yeah, and just get out of the ring, not an extensive hoss fight trying to do moves.
I mean, this was the one thing that I can say for this match. And like I said, and this might be a product of my having stayed off social media, this is the match that I was kind of most curious about. Because even though I am not like Mr. Patriot storyline, I tend to roll my eyes at this, I thought they set this up from just watching it as a pro wrestling angle. I mean, there were people in the audience that looked like really upset that Henry had failed to defend America. So if your goal is to get even more heat on Rusev and serve up a former world heavyweight champion to him, make him tap out, mission accomplished. So this was the right outcome. It would have been a real travesty if they booked Henry over Rusev here. Right. So at least they did that right. But it wasn't fun watching them get there, especially not the wrestling part.
No, the wrestling part was awful. And continuing the theme that's been Rusev's main roster career, Rusev really hates black people, man.
He took a little time off to hate Jack Swagger, who also hates black people. Well, we don't know that. He hates brown people.
He hates brown people, but
we don't know we don't know his feelings on actual African Americans. We know he doesn't like Latinos.
Man, can you book Rusev over any other nationality for or ethnicity for the next 6 months without touching African Americans? Because
we don't have any other African Americans. Well, unless they have him feud with R. Ziggler. There's what other black people are there on the roster?
Don't give him ideas of just signing. Oh, Titus O'Neil. Did he beat up
yeah, I forgot. He's busy in NXT and hanging out with Heath Slater. So who do you book Rusev up against next then? That's a good question. Darren's been hurt, so maybe not. But maybe when he comes back and
can he beat up Byron Saxton?
You just start beating up the black announcers too. He goes after Booker T in the pre-show and
the guys that set up the ring. Look, there's plenty of white guys on your roster, Vince. Have Rusev beat up them for a little bit.
So who do you put Rusev up against next? One of the rumors that's out there is that he's going to run into Cena, which is just we know how that ends. Ask Bray Wyatt about it.
It ends with LOL Cena wins, yep. But if you can get him a couple of wins over Cena first, same kind of thing that that happened at SummerSlam, and then tonight where he just completely decimates Cena, like how Brock Lesnar decimated Cena. That would work because you need Lesnar's gone. I don't know if Lesnar's working Survivor Series or if he's working until Royal Rumble. You don't have a monster heel on the roster. That really can feud with Cena, and what the problem that they had with the Wyatt feud and the Ryback feud with Cena and every other time that they have a heel feud with Cena is they let Cena win immediately, and then they don't commit to having Cena lose right afterwards, and so the real first time that you had Cena was committed to losing to a heel was SummerSlam. And that's how you'd have to do it with Rusev. Rusev can lose to Cena. He has to. Rusev is eventually going to have to lose.
Yeah, I kind of have a problem with the whole undefeated angle anyway, because you sort of...
You book yourself into a corner.
Yeah, you set yourself up to where it's going to be disappointing no matter what happens.
But if you let him, if you let him beat up Cena 2 straight pay-per-views, and then Lana's just running her mouth like, America, we beat your Superman, we beat your former champion. I just hit myself in the face with a rubber band.
That's what you get.
That's what I get for not paying attention to the show.
For suggesting that Cena lose, that's what you get.
But like that's how you have to book it. Is Cena loses the first 2 matches on pay-per-view and then gets final victory for America. You can't be Cena wins immediately.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. He's going to win immediately.
He's going to win immediately. And then he'll win. Then Rusev will win the second one through somehow, Lana will call in a nuclear strike on Cena, and that's how Rusev will win the second one, and then Cena will win an I Quit match.
He's going to get distracted because it's Kevin Dunn, and so Lana's going to like flash her boobs, and Cena's going to be like, what? And then boom.
And probably fall in love with Nikki Bella, and they're going to make out, and that's, there you go.
And then Cena's going to get mad and chase him backstage and get counted out. And then he's going to decimate Rusev. But if you want to do it properly, he needs to lose to Rusev twice on pay-per-view. For real. He can't just, he can't take the bullshit, oh, Schmon's for this kid sang in my face. And he's got the whole... No, it can't be that. It needs to be a real beatdown, and he needs to tap to the accolade.
I'm with you, but I'll believe it when I see it.
No, it's not.
That's how I don't get as pissed off as Gino gets, because I fully expect, especially when it comes to Cena. I've been watching this for too long. I mean, they don't book the top babyface like that. Vince doesn't do it.
No, he's afraid to.
Yeah.
He's afraid. Like, how many times have we said it, man? Like, if you want to book Cena properly now, like he got beat at SummerSlam. He shouldn't have had the match he had tonight, and we'll get to that.
Yep.
But if you want him against Rusev, it needs to be John Cena gets beat down, and then eventually wins for America. It can't be John Cena wins for America, because then Rusev is done.
Yep. I would just prefer that they keep him away from Cena, but I prefer they keep all young people away from Cena until they've had some sort of decent run with something. I mean, like, Bryan hit Cena at the right point. Punk hit Cena at the right point.
Right.
Ryback, the other person, not to jump around too much, the other person that they're rumored to run into Cena and that they sort of set it up tonight is Rollins, which would be bad. So, yes. Yeah. So, we'll see. But yeah, this was the dog of the night. I get why they're doing it, I guess. I mean, whatever. It seems to be working with large chunks of the crowd. People do seem to hate Rusev and love America, and there you have it. So hopefully the next ones will be more like the Swagger feud, where we actually get good matches out of it, as opposed to this one, which we got good build and then shitty match. So, let's see.
And here's the thing: you saying the people who love America. Kind of also why I hate saying it, but it's also probably why the WWE Network hasn't sold that well, because of those people, and you know what I mean by that. And I'm not going to say any more. Because of those people, that's why the WWE Network hasn't sold as well as their ratings.
They man, they somewhere in there tonight
pushed it tonight. Holy shit, man!
And Cole said something like, "If you paid $55 for this, you're a moron." Basically, just said you're an idiot. Which...
Yeah, but and they never said that you're a moron, but they said it in not so many.
I think either Lawler or Cole said, "Imagine how you must feel if you paid $55 for this," or something.
When you could have paid $9.99, you could have gotten everything. Like, dude, if that's your new technique of getting it. Of getting buys, whew.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, especially when, not to disparage anybody, but the folks that, the folks that the advertisers aren't interested in, who probably are interested in watching the Jerry Springer stuff and the America versus Russia stuff, those are the people who don't have high-speed internet and probably wouldn't get the network. They're the ones you're also going to make fun of.
That's what I was meaning by it.
Yeah, when you're programming to them and making fun of them at the same time.
there's a very large portion of the people in America that live in locations and or communities where you can't get high-speed internet.
Yeah.
You have satellites, and you have satellite TV, and you have satellite internet, and it's either because you live in really rural communities or you live in places where you don't have cable lines.
Or you're not really technologically savvy and you don't know what Netflix is, so having them say it's like Netflix but with wrestling doesn't mean anything to you.
Right, and here's the thing: I've worked for a really company. I've worked for Vonage, and
Hmm.
I worked as a retention agent when I first started, and we had which means I had to save your account, and there were many people who are salespeople signed them up who didn't have cable or DSL, and high speed internet is kind of that Earthlink kind of shit.
Yeah.
It isn't cable or DSL. It's just like you get to cruise the web and like at maybe like 300 kilobytes a second or whatever.
Right.
It's not high speed, and that's a large portion of the country. Like that's a big problem, and they don't want to admit that that's an issue, and that's a big part of your fan base and your demographic.
And that's why they bailed on really. They stopped talking about domestic expansion and just went all in on international because
you have to.
yeah, they think they've reached the wrestling fans who are going to buy it in the States right now. Now they have to like build that market, and I guess I don't know. One way they decided to do that is by making fun of the people who can't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? Like there's rumors I saw on our dirt screens where it's going to be actually like a paid channel on your it's available on your cable network on your cable package. That would work if you want to do it that way, and maybe you're going to be able to up your subscriptions that way. But I think we've reached that saturation point for the network, and Jerry Lawler and JBL and Michael Cole saying you pay $55 for this. Like, dude, what if this was fucking Battleground?
Yeah. Ugh.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That bothered me, and they kept doing it, and it just it was more annoying than them saying $9.99.
And you know what? This is just a mini rant here. My college degree is in marketing, so I can appreciate. I've done a solo podcast on this where I give them props. They've actually gotten $9.99 over as a catchphrase. But if you're bringing $9.99 signs and buying shirts and shit to arenas, you're a markety mark. You're doing exactly what they want you to do. So I get it. You're being ironic, and it's kind of funny. I'll giggle too. But don't complain about it if you're going to bring signs to the arena. That's it. They've done it. They've gotten it over. $9.99 is going to be a fucking wrestling catchphrase for the rest of time. Like what? And like yes, and you can't complain about it because it's done and you helped participate in it. Me too. So fuck you, everybody. Sorry, I'm getting tired. See, we're getting to that point of the night where I'm going to say something terribly sexist or something because.
Yep. So
all right.
There.
What happened next?
Oh, did we get Divas?
No.
We got Orton and Jericho.
Well, all right, you start on this one because I don't know if you read my predictions for the predictions post on Cageside, but I worked in a plug for you on here that the only question in this for me was whether or not the punt would actually happen and how much you would hate it were the only things in doubt for me. So
here's the thing. This was one of Jericho's better matches of his latest run. Am I wrong for saying that?
No. I really liked this match, but I was curious what you were gonna say.
This was one of his better matches. It still wasn't great, but it's hard. My big problem is it's hard watching Chris Jericho now when I've had his entire career to look back on. And I think you'll agree on that. Like what he's doing now, it's not up to snuff with what you're expecting of Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and I think the two best matches we saw out of him were this one and the cage match. So it's like he took so he came back for 4 months or whatever, and it took him all 4 months to get the rust off, just to get back to where he's doing a decent, like, old version of what we used to like.
And at a low point though, this is an incredible Chris Jericho. This is Chris Jericho who's like he's all right, he's doing all right. And I think that's what's really bothered me, and it's like Chris Jericho used to be the kind of guy that he could get a great match out of everybody, and
Yeah.
he's not that person anymore. And uh, Fozzie's doing really well, and he has podcasts that I'm assuming are pulling decent
I,
numbers, getting
I
paid,
think so. Yeah.
and he's getting paid through those with sponsors and stuff.
And
So
he's
it's
got
not,
his third book comes out in the fall.
yeah, like he has a lot of stuff going on, and so I don't want to say that he's not passionate about wrestling because he's clearly one of those guys that if you're coming back and working and
Hmm.
putting over young talent how he did, and I'm not talking about Orton because Orton's not a young talent, but you clearly care about the business and the future of the business. Um,
But
it,
Jericho's so old that he was putting over Orton when he was young talent. That's the thing. That's how that I mean it sounds like a joke, but it's true. Like the first punt that wrote Jericho off the first time, that was him putting over a younger guy on his way out the door. Then it's
right,
just
and that
he's been
younger
doing
guy,
it for so long now that we forget that he did anything else, kind of.
right, and so this wasn't a bad match. It was a serviceable match that kind of got us out of a bad swing of the pay-per-view, which was the Mark Henry and the Miz matches, and
It
you
did.
know like it got us out of that little rut. It wasn't great. It was an average match. I thought we were really going to get that punt. That punt,
So did I. So did I. I thought they were going to break it back out. They,
because
the tease
that
was pretty good. The tease was pretty good.
tease was great. And the finish, like, here's the other thing. Like, we talk about the RKO out of nowhere. I've seen that so
Hmm.
many times. I've seen that finish so many
Yep.
times at this point. And so, like, it's not, it's not like Evan Bourne doing, his shoot, like the shooting star
Yeah.
press and then getting, RKO'd. I've seen that. I've seen that finish before, and I think that also kind of took it away.
It did. I was my two knocks on this match. I really enjoyed it, but my two knocks on it were one is this felt like you know like if I was going to like whatever Tommy Dreamer's promotion is where they bring in like 40-year-olds from the 90s and they just put on matches with no story behind them. It was kind of like that. It's like sure, I remember these guys as history, but you didn't really. This doesn't feel like this should be Jericho's goodbye match because you just put this feud together 2 weeks ago. So it didn't. So it was sort of the opposite of the Rusev one to me. They sort of built that one up with like a big old school story, and then the match didn't pay off. Same thing with Miz and Dolph Ziggler. That might be a better example. The build was great. The match was lacking. For me here, the build was lacking, and then the match was pretty good. And then yeah, that RKO, they just from the second Jericho was stalling on the climb up, you knew exactly what was going to happen. He wasn't even like trying to do. I guess he was going to do his axe handle, but it wasn't even that impressive a jump into an RKO. They need to put that. Yeah, they need to put that spot on the shelf for a while so that if he does eventually do it to Adrian Neville or something, it'll mean something again. Because right now it really doesn't.
Right. I mean, like when he pulled it on what's it called on CM Punk when he was feuding with CM Punk when like during Punk's Nexus run,
Yeah.
like that came out of nowhere. Because he got beat down and he was barely standing and whatever, and then he hits the catch.
Yep.
There was none of that tonight. It was just all right. I caught you and RKO.
Yeah, I mean, part of why I still, even the matches that you really didn't like in this Jericho return that I like, is because I still think he's got a better understanding of psychology and how to put a match together than, a lot of the younger guys on the roster combined. So I like watching him sort of think on his feet while he does that, but I feel like this whole run, I don't know, it's like in the past he came back and you could tell that he had put all this thought into reinventing his character and he had new moves and it was the light up jacket or it was the talking slow or the code breaker came out, and this one it's just the Jericho nostalgia tour. It's just the greatest hits and it didn't click.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what it is. It's the our band broke up and we're doing a reunion tour, and
Yeah.
we're gonna play everything off of the Pink Floyd, Pink Floyd's Dark
Yeah,
Side.
exactly.
Sounds
Yep.
awesome, but that's not what
Yeah.
Jericho was about. Like when he came out with the light up jacket and then he didn't say anything for the
Hmm.
4 appearances. That was a genius. Like that was a
Yep.
character. We didn't
And
have
like And like I said, that to me, that says like I've been sitting at home thinking of how I can come back and do something really cool. This one was like I've been sitting at home writing a book and writing an album, and then Vince called that said come back, and I said okay.
Right.
So
and Chris didn't go. So what's the idea?
Yeah.
Now you're coming back.
Yep. And I guess he said I want to work with Wyatt, and they said okay, and that was as far as that got. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to dive back into that fucking
right. But
den of.
You at least understand like why I've been so dogging.
Oh, I know. I think it's a legit criticism. I mean, like I said, I fully admit. I mean, sometimes I have trouble taking my Mark glasses off, and with Jericho is definitely one of those places. It's just I'm so happy to see him at all times. I watched fucking Robot Fighters or whatever that show he hosted was. I'm a Jericho Mark, so I appreciate you. Keeping me in check a little bit there, but I do like to bust your balls about it too. Yeah. So. Anyway, so yeah, I think you're right though. I think this started us back up the trend towards, this card will be all right instead of just being one where there were a couple good matches and then it went off the rails.
And before we go on to Night of Champions, Drew Nicholas, I'm gonna you just posted this in a thread with sorry it's TNA, but it needs to be put here since it references Night of Champions. And so TNA from their official Impact Wrestling account said, while we like the hashtag iPhone 6, Samsung Mobile USA is also great. Angry with Night of Champions? You have options too. Impact on Spike, Wednesdays at 8 Central.
Wow. Well, that's one. I mean, I don't know how social media marketing works. I guess that gets you in some people's search results and stuff. But
it got 326 retweets, which is not great for a major for a
nationally televised program.
But like that's respectable. Probably would have been better saying that if tonight was completely terrible.
Right, like I mean that would be a better like if the network had crashed, maybe it would be more topical. And are people really that angry? I mean, like I said, I stayed off social media. I can understand where you think this wasn't a legit pay-per-view finish, but
it wasn't awful.
Are people? This wasn't the like Big Show comes out and punches everybody.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't that.
If this was Battleground, do it. Send that tweet, and I will retweet that because you're right. It wasn't great. Night of Champions wasn't bad. It wasn't great.
No, and I think the 326 people who retweeted that are they're the people who will defend TNA at any cost.
They are the 326 people that TNA pulls as a gate every single time.
They didn't pull that many the first night of the new television taping, so that's...
Didn't?
No, I don't. The picture that was going around the internet, I put it in the spoilers post, was like 19 dudes sitting around and it looked like a Ring of Honor or an Evolve set. Like there was no Titantron, there was just like a light, like they had like Christmas lights hanging over the ramp and.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Because even ACW and Anarchy Championship Wrestling in Austin pulls about 250 people.
I mean, I'm sure it was early. I mean, I'm sure the picture that went around that got people buzzing was probably staged to look really bad. But even like PW Insider and like legit places said that it was the first night. I guess they rebounded. I guess they papered it enough the next couple of nights. But the first night was pretty dreadful as far as attendance went. They were in Bethlehem, PA. I don't know what they expected. I mean, at least if you're in Manhattan like they were for the last tapings.
People that live in Bethlehem.
On a Tuesday night in Bethlehem, PA.
Nobody lives there. That is like The Rock may have been growing up there. That's the most relevant part of wrestling in Bethlehem, PA. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, we got.
All right, so Divas match.
Divas match. I was not I wasn't angry about this.
I got angry for a little bit in the middle, but then by the end I was okay again.
Yeah.
They tried. They busted their asses. I mean,
and all of them did. And so I'm going to say this is that we give Nikki Bella a lot of shit because she's a terrible actress, but she's better than her sister. She has come miles from where she was when they were doing Twin Magic.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
She works as a power wrestler, as a powerhouse wrestler. and she
Within the
works
diva,
well as a powerhouse.
yeah, within the diva style, she looks like a beast. I mean, so I
Super
thought there was
talented.
the one. I thought she was going to win after the rack attack. Is that what she calls her torture rack backbreaker
Mhm.
thing? Um,
Yep.
that was a good spot. I mean, she transitioned. She caught. What did she do? She caught AJ off the ropes and transitioned her into
Yeah,
that.
like straight up caught AJ who jumped off the top rope. That's a beast
hmm
move.
I mean,
Like,
AJ's a little tiny person, but yeah. I mean,
AJ's probably like a buck 15, buck 20,
yeah.
but like that like just kept like Sean, you try catching a 120
I
pound
don't. I don't
female.
want to. I mean,
Like that's not an easy feat for a person to do, and she did it, and like there was no stumbling backwards or like a botch on that. Like it wasn't great. They're still doing the sexual tension thing between AJ and I think that's where what you meant by you didn't.
completely unnecessary. Whatever that the whole the minute thing there where Paige just
Where Paige put up her hand to kiss it, like
yeah, and then she wants to cradle AJ instead of trying to pin her. I mean that doesn't. It's not sexy. I mean I like a good girls kissing girls movie myself. I mean but this is not fuck. Don't do that. They're working their asses off to tell a real wrestling match, to have a real wrestling match and tell a real wrestling story, and in the middle of it you want to give Kevin Dunn some fucking wank material, and it's stupid.
yeah, like that's really what bothered me, and that was the only thing that bothered me about this is that instead of going, hey, you know what, like these women are really working, and again, it wasn't they threw Nikki Bella out of the ring, and then Paige and AJ put on a wrestling match, and then Nikki Bella got one move in, and they got thrown out of the match. Like they all worked, and they all did what they had to do, and it it was so unnecessary, and it's so dumb that they need to do that because it makes me scared what they're gonna do for when Charlotte Flair comes up.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, and that's
I'm worried about that because Charlotte's attractive.
yeah, and well, yeah. I mean, they're gonna do it. They'll do it. I mean, I mean, yeah, I gotta. I mean, Paige is really, really talented, and I had a thought while they were doing that shit in the middle. I try not to, be like the sky is falling and everything, but I'm worried that she's gonna get that for most of the WWE universe, she's gonna be that crazy lesbo, and that she's never gonna overcome this because
Yeah,
you don't do. I mean, she even got to do her badass. She got to do her headbutts. She got to do her badass like kneeing people in the rope spot. She was part of that superplex spot, the Tower of Doom superplex. She can wrestle, and I don't want it to be, oh yeah, remember when she tried to make out with AJ all the time?
right.
And it didn't fit in the match at all. I mean, they were trying to kill each other otherwise, and she was really wanting to keep her title, but not as much as she wanted AJ to kiss her hand, and she wanted to. God damn it.
Like here's the thing. Here's the other thing. Like the kissing the hand that would work more with the Charlotte Flair character. I'm the
Yeah,
queen.
like yeah,
Or like
like
or Sasha Banks, like I'm royalty. Kiss my hand, kiss my feet, like that kind of thing.
oh yeah,
Like
it's
grovel at my feet. That would work. I don't need to see these two. Like they're AJ. She's not a great wrestler. She's a good wrestler.
she's
I
okay. I
don't.
mean, within the context of the Divas division, she's okay. She's another one. I think she's a better storyteller than she is a
Yeah, she's a
wrestler.
better
But
storyteller. But you don't need to be like, oh man, like they're gonna fuck. Like that's what we're building to. It's just gonna be the Edge wins the title and then he fucks Lita in the middle of the ring. We don't
I
need
mean,
that.
like you said. I
That's
mean,
what we're building to.
it's all in how you present something. If this was Charlotte, or even if it was Paige, who was trying to like establish her dominance by making AJ kiss her hand, I mean, I would still probably have a little bit of an issue with it because you'd never tell that story with dudes. But this was not that. This was like, I'm hurt, kiss it and make it better. It was totally sexy. There was no mind games angle that you could spin that made any kind of sense, and it took a little bit away. Thankfully, it was in the middle. It didn't play into the finish. I don't understand why we had to flip the title again here when you had Paige tap clean too. But I thought it was kind of cool. She almost did the same reversal from the Black Widow into the Rampage thing, or the Page Turner, which I don't know whatever they call it these days. So yeah, it was a really good match. I thought it wasn't great. I thought the Tower of Doom spot was Nikki didn't really have much to do there, and I also heard Paige ask AJ if she was ready before they did it.
Yeah,
But
they're
the divas aren't the only ones who talk too much. That's why it's a whole meme.
yeah.
But they tried. I mean, they busted their ass. They didn't embarrass themselves. They were put in a tough spot in between a good Jericho match that didn't quite win the crowd over, and everybody being anticipating the main event, and they kept the crowd there. I mean, good for them.
This wasn't the typical Divas cool down match.
No, it wasn't.
I know that when we've talked like how it's always been, oh, they're building it towards total divas, and they're clearly that's what they do. I also like I wouldn't have been upset if they put the title on Nikki.
I'm shocked they didn't. That was my pick. I thought that was totally where they were going.
I'm shocked that they didn't, but seeing how she did in the ring, I wouldn't have been upset because
I mean, no, I wouldn't either. No.
Because it wouldn't feel like we're putting it on for the sake of the TV show.
And the other thing that they didn't do is that they had a backstage promo with Brie where she had to act, and God, she was just so pleased with herself when she got to say bitch. She's horrible. But they didn't. I was expecting maybe a Brie run-in or something too. They kept that story separate. So this was just Nikki's title shot, which is kind of weird. But
I'm surprised they didn't put the belt on Nikki, and maybe I'm jinxing it, and I'm a jinx, but I wouldn't mind putting a belt on Nikki because I think that one, it would tie into the TV show, and it clearly like if you're gonna tease it and you're gonna commit time on Raw to it, at least commit to it and go all the way, as opposed to like, oh, she was involved in this feud and then she lost. Like, no, they commit to it. And the other thing is, like, tonight showed me that Nikki may be able to actually hold her own in the ring. Like, she didn't botch the AJ jumping off the top rope. And she could have. Like, that's an easy botch, and that's an easy botch for men to do.
Yeah, and she did there were a few cool spots that she did tonight, and I'm all for that. I mean, because I want, like with the tag team where they can only tell one story and it has to be about the title, I want the divas to get, or maybe someday we'll call them women again, to get to the point where there's a bunch of them and they have different storylines and the title's not the only one. And you do that by having Nikki and Brie and other people show that they can wrestle and not just be eye candy. So the more that she does that, and she's got she has a title run on her resume, and she could earn another one. This is another one. I don't know why we did the title change at SummerSlam just to put it back on AJ. Just so we can now say AJ's a 3-time Divas champ, I guess.
Right. I will also say this before we move on. The bump that Nikki took off the canvas onto the floor.
Oh yeah.
That was a pretty big, like, that wasn't an easy bump.
That sounded rough. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take that bump. That was
that's a bad bump to take.
It was. I mean, she landed flat, but yeah, I mean that's.
But that's one of those really easy to botch bumps, and so like again, I keep going back to like botches, and maybe that's me with such low expectations for Nikki and Brie Bella, and for the women that were carrying the Divas division for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I wouldn't mind if you want to put the title on her, because I think that she's at the point as a worker and as a talent that she's not gonna screw up that much.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were some positive signs here. It was just there was a big yuck in the middle of it, but it's like they either let them book it or they let Triple H, produce this segment, because it was like they let them have a real wrestling match. It was like, but Vince and Dunn said, if you do that, you just have to make sure they do some sexy stuff in the middle. And the workers seem to like try to gloss that over quickly, or do it and then move back into having a wrestling match. So hopefully it's a sign of good stuff to come. Maybe, probably not, but we can hope. Keep hope alive.
Yep. Anyway,
main event time. Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Main event time, though, man.
Let's get it on. So what'd you think?
Not it. It was good. So I'm gonna say this. It was a good story. There's not much that you could do that wouldn't really piss me off after the SummerSlam. because if you've already shown that Cena can get just the shit kicked out of him, and that he's no match for Brock Lesnar, you can't show that he's a match for Brock Lesnar. And so hitting 4 AAs, it's kind of like that completely contradicts what happened at SummerSlam. John Cena, like I've said it, I know that I've said it, and it's probably getting to like just annoy people at this point. He's one of the best workers on that roster, and it's arguable that he's one of the best workers of all time in the sense that he can work any style. They worked a really stiff style. He can do like he can do anything, and he can get a great match with everybody. And John Cena tonight, as far as a worker goes, was awesome. It's just that his character's tired, and he knows how to do all the moves. He just doesn't know how to sell them, and that's what really bothers me. It was a good match. It's just that when you have SummerSlam, you can't do this match. This should have been the SummerSlam match, and then SummerSlam should have been tonight's match.
I guess. And this is where maybe it's just the expectations that I go into with. This is exactly what I thought they were going to do.
Oh no, I knew.
I mean, not to pat myself on the back or anything, but I was totally expecting it. So the fact that they executed it well, I give them credit for that, I guess.
Sure.
That was my problem with the SummerSlam match. Again, I didn't break that show down with you, but that was, I thought it was cool that was what they did, but I thought they painted themselves in a corner.
Yeah, tonight's match should have been what they did at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And then you have the SummerSlam match tonight, and he just wrecks John Cena's shit.
Yeah.
That's how you should have booked it. They booked it backwards. It wasn't a bad match though. This was a highly entertaining match. John Cena landed a stiff elbow, like a shoot elbow on Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I think somebody put a gif of it in the thread there.
Yeah, like that was a shoot elbow. That was a real elbow, and Lesnar's world got rocked. This was a stiff match, man.
It was, and I mean one thing that I thought it was cool. They did a good job. The bruise that Cena had on his side, they did a good job. The commentators and the camera crew did a good job of highlighting that because that sort of drove home that yes, this is scripted, but it doesn't mean they're not fucking hurting each other in there. I got a little bit annoyed with how much Cena went to like the closed fist strikes. I know that the rule against those is a joke, but it seemed like, especially when it didn't even matter. Like you said, I mean, the one that really mattered was that elbow, which, it was weird. I don't know. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I thought they did a good job presenting it, but it is. I mean, they didn't do any of the necessary work to really make it seem like there was anything different about this Cena from the last Cena. Just because you beat up Bray Wyatt doesn't mean that all of a sudden you should be almost ready to make this legit monster tap out.
Right, and I think that's really what it was. Like the story's fine. It's just it was wrong. It was wrong timing. I also there's no reason for the main event to end in DQ like that, and that's another talking point. But this was dumb.
Well, and it's like, and this is going back to what I was saying earlier. It's kind of, I mean, it's sort of interesting, but it's just also like a clusterfuck. It's like we couldn't make up our minds, so we booked everything. It's like, I mean, because it's not clear who Seth Rollins is feuding with next. It's not clear because Ambrose, I guess, was still zip tied up in the back, so he didn't run out. So this sets up Cena's pissed at Rollins for costing him the belt. I'm sick to death of the cash-in, but the bell didn't ring or the announcer didn't say it. That little out that they have to keep the briefcase. I mean,
because, so you stayed away from social media. Like everybody on social media was kind of tweeting like, wait, so is he still Money in the Bank guy or did that count? Like none of us knew.
Yeah, I don't. It sure looked. I mean, it seemed to me like if you get that far along where Justin Roberts announces the match, it should count. But then Cole was screaming, "The bell never rang! The bell never rang!" So I guess it didn't.
Right, like that bothered me.
That's cheesy.
This was a dusty finish, and it wasn't a great dusty finish. It was a dusty finish though, because that's what Dusty Rhodes does. Um, it wasn't great, and as you said, and we kind of glossed over before. Uh, I'm worried that they're gonna feed Seth Rollins to Cena.
I mean, I don't. I think they're gonna
Well,
think
Cena
this.
has every reason to come after Rollins
Oh
now.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it, he has every reason to say like, I had him beat and you fucked me over. I don't care that that business is business and that you're coming after the belt. You're not doing it through me, and you're not doing it that way. And now I'm coming after you, and I'm taking your briefcase too.
I mean, that's the yeah. The worst case scenario coming out of tonight would be we go back to Cena versus the Authority because they're the ones that Brock was their option C to get the belt off of him in the first place, and now he's got Rollins, so he's going to go after them. He's going to destroy Seth, take the briefcase as his way to get the belt back, and while that's going on, they're going to give us Big Show versus Lesnar again, even though we just saw Lesnar destroy Show at Royal Rumble not 8 months ago.
Right. And
And
here's the
and
other thing.
I know, by
You
the way,
brought,
Show had some of the worst championship matches anybody's ever seen last fall, just a year ago at this time,
you
in an
actually brought
angle
up
nobody
something.
cared about.
You brought up something that I didn't even think about, which is Lesnar's option C. Uh, he's your champ, so why would you send Rollins to beat him up?
Well, that's one of the interesting things is that I think there's some cool stuff they could do. There's like best case scenarios that could happen too, but I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to see Lesnar versus Rollins. It'd be a cool match, but I don't think it's what Rollins needs right now. So
And
I mean, like I said, it just seemed like they threw everything. Like, well, we're going to protect Cena and Lesnar, and so just do all this shit here, and we're gonna. It's all open ended. Lesnar almost tapped, but then he stands tall. Cena got screwed, but he got revenge at the same time.
it's they booked themselves into a pretty bad corner, and you know what? Part of it is just how the way the dice were rolled. Like if Roman Reigns doesn't get injured and need surgery, totally different. But like tonight is totally different. So there's a big chance that when that surgery was announced and it was done yesterday, uh, that they kind of had to call a huge audible, and it kind of screws up everything because while we hate to say it, because they do rewrites of Raw every single hour before the show and probably during the show, they at least have an idea of how they want to go from pay per view to pay per view with who's going to be your champion and the matches.
Yep.
And Reigns getting injured and needing surgery definitely screwed that up, those plans up. But Rollins now should be getting beat up by both Lesnar and John Cena.
Yep. Yep. And that's. I mean, I'm sympathetic to that. This is, it's not just like scripting a television show because, you're not going to find out before the final season of Breaking Bad that Bryan Cranston's leg snapped in two or whatever. I mean, it could happen, but it's not as likely as it is with wrestling. But you know that. So you should have, plan B, plan C. You should be ready for that shit. It shouldn't be like, oh, this happened and now we have to completely blow up all of our plans the
Right,
night before a
but
pay-per-view.
but but like having Reigns get injured yesterday, and again, I have no idea when I found out that he needed surgery, and it might have been, you know, on last Monday or whatever. Um, but that's not a lot of time to replan your next 6 months.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'll give him some leeway with that, but seriously, like, who who wants to beat up Rollins because both of them do, and so
Well,
now you have Rollins in that tweener role now, where the monster heel and the mega face both want his head because
and where does that leave Ambrose, who's the guy who's getting like nuclear pops for chasing Rollins, and you turn Rollins into a tweener, and now that feud is on hold, or what?
yeah, I mean, like, is Rollins even part of the Authority after tonight? Like, there's a lot of shit, like, It just doesn't make sense to me.
And that could be interesting, like this like tension between Rollins and the Authority, but that hasn't been set up at all. So just all of a sudden tonight, he decided to go into business for himself. The guy that they've been building that with is Orton. Like that, he doesn't trust them. But yeah,
and it's not like they've given him any reason to not trust them. You know, like they came out and zip tied Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
You know, like it just it doesn't make sense. And now, like, you know, if there was a build where it's like, you know, Triple H, I don't need your help with all this stuff. I don't need you to come out and protect me. I can beat Dean Ambrose on my own. I can beat these guys on my own, and he does it. Or he's beating them, and then Triple H sends out Kane and you know, Rollins gets the DQ or whatever. Okay, then you can say like, oh, tension within the Authority, and like, you know, Rollins feels like he's getting held back, but you know, literally like an hour before he's getting saved, mercilessly saved,
right.
And then he comes back and he attacks the guy who, you know, Triple H said like, that's our champ.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could also. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could go with it, so we'll see. I mean, I'll give them a little leeway. It could be. I mean, the guys in the thread are bringing up that maybe, you know, that Rollins' head got big and he ended up doing more than he was sent out there to do. It could also be that, you know, you sort of start jump-starting the angle that, you know, Triple H and Stephanie are worried that they turned over the keys of the kingdom to the demon, and that they were trying to hedge their bets too. That if it worked out where Rollins could cash in, they gave him the go-ahead, and then you've got some tension between Heyman and Lesnar and the Authority. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways they could go with it, but they, you know, every way that we can think of that they could go with it, they could also screw that way up.
Right, and they also haven't led to that yet.
Right.
Like there's been no hint of that yet. Like, it would be okay to be like, oh, hey, you know, we gave the keys to the kingdom to the demon, and, you know, Lesnar's beating up Joey Mercury, you know, because he is waiting, he's in front of him in front of catering, in the line in catering. You know, like, okay, I can believe that. Or, you know, like, oh, fine. But there's been no tease, there's been nothing. This is our guy, and then Rollins went into business for himself.
Yep.
So
we shall see.
Yep. I'm excited about Raw.
Yeah. I'll be here. I'll probably be so tired that I say something, you know, sexist and or racist, and have to apologize for it later.
I'll prevent you from saying something racist, but
yeah, I don't really say racist shit.
Sexist comments. Who cares?
Well, I thought I said something. Is it only sexist? I only get sexist. I guess that's all.
You only do.
I apologize.
You say the C word.
Yeah, I said it that one time. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That's all right.
I didn't mean it as like a woman. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. So yeah, pretty good show. Worth my $9.99 this month.
Yep, definitely worth $9.99. I'm being told. I know that you know, Brian Heminger, former MMA Mania guy. He does a podcast, and he just told me that he's gonna have Jim Ross on his show. So
wow, nice.
You know, like, I'm sure he still has a good relationship with Gino. So comments, quotes are probably gonna end up on the site, but that's gonna be on Wednesday. So if you like MMA talk and you're not Doors, who hates MMA,
Doors hates MMA fighters.
Oh, he hates MMA. He doesn't mind.
He might actually like the sport. I don't know. Yeah.
But so it's like me with football. I love football. I hate NFL players, especially Ray Lewis, who said the dumbest thing today. Did you catch that or no?
No, I didn't.
Ray Lewis, when talking about Ray Rice, said, "There's some things that you can cover up, and there's some things you can't."
Oh, Ray. Oh.
For our non-American listeners, Ray Lewis was arrested for covering up a murder
and pled guilty to conspiracy to. He pled out. He pled guilty. He admitted to doing that, and now there's a statue to him about 10 minutes from my house. So, football, America. Yeah, I have the same thing. I've actually been struggling with my football fandom a little bit this year.
I love football, man. Like, I love Sunday. I had a wild Sunday. I was telling Sean in the pre-show. I got a wild Sunday. It ended with me drinking a Bud Light and asking for a glass. And my friend's the bartender, and he gave me a martini glass to drink out of, thinking that was going to shame me. And no, not going to shame me. And I
No, do it anyway.
drank Bud Light out of a martini glass, folks.
That's classy. That's a baller move right there.
That's how you're supposed to drink Bud Light.
That's
it's
right.
Fucking...
Hell yeah, I'm with you on that.
And you know what? Somebody, Plan R says in the thread that we had Takeover. Takeover was not last week; it was the week before. That was a great show. And
it was. It was.
Takeover was awesome. We have a lot that we were supposed to talk about. We didn't end up talking about. Takeover was awesome. Raw last week was decent.
I didn't watch it, and I have to say I didn't miss it. I mean, I watched the highlights later. I watched like the Hulu shortened version and some YouTube clips, but yeah.
It was decent. Like, it's clear that NXT is the WWE's like future of their wrestlers, but also just the future programming because it's so much better.
Oh, I mean, I have definitely come. I mean, I pay $9.99 a month for NXT.
For NXT. Like
everything else is gravy.
Yeah, that I got the pay-per-views included is gravy for me. But the $9.99 a month for NXT and like Takeover 2 was awesome. And yeah, man, it's yeah, we got plenty to talk about, Sean. We're not going to do it tonight. I'm tired. Yeah. You're tired. Jesus.
I gotta go read about how the Steelers won too. Woohoo! And I got a post to write for the morning.
And I quoted Kanye, and nobody said anything. So good night, everybody.
They were too busy giving you shit about calling Cena an all-time great worker.
Yep.
They're just gonna have to deal with it.
Deal with it.
God damn it!